A lighthouse shouldn't exist 50 miles from the ocean, unless what it's warning you about isn't water. When Mara moved back to her hometown to finish a documentary project, locals kept telling her to shoot the inland lighthouse. It sat on a granite ridge overlooking cornfields and a dead quarry, its white brick tower stubborn and salt-stained, like it had been ripped from the coast and dropped here. Decommissioned. Locked. Useless, so people said. The first time Mara hiked up with her camera, a storm was rolling in. Not rain, heat, lightning, shivering across a cloudless sky. The air smelled faintly like low tide, and that made no sense. The nearest shore was hours away. She walked the base, recorded B-roll, and found the keeper's door unlatched. Inside, a spiral of iron steps climbed past porthole windows. Dust floated like plankton in the beam of her phone light. Her boots left prints in a thin film of grit, and something else. Wet. The tread shone like she'd stepped through a puddle. Halfway up, she paused at a porthole. Beyond the rippled glass, the fields should have been visible. The town, the highway, a water tower. Instead, she saw an open sea, slate black, rough and breathing. The wind hissed through a non-existent gap, carrying brine. Heat haze, she told herself, though the word sat wrong on her tongue. Higher, the tower groaned, metal expanding, a lens turning. She reached the lantern room and nearly dropped her phone. The Fresnel lens sat intact, prisms clean, the mechanism shivering with life. There was no generator, no power. Yet when the lens completed a slow rotation, a white arc swept across the room and out through the glass, and the hair rose on Mara's arms as if the beam had grazed her skin. She set the phone to record. The lens turned again. The beam washed over the portholes. Outside, no fields, no ridge, no lightning, just night and open water from horizon to horizon. Far below, surf exploded against rock. A bell buoy tolled from somewhere in the dark. A gull struck the glass, smearing it with wet feathers, then slid away with a sound like hands across a window. Mara backed toward the stairs. The steps were wet now, streamlets trickling downward. Her boot slipped. She grabbed the rail and felt barnacles under flaking paint. Something hammered the base door. Once, twice, 3 times. Slow and patient. The tower answered each knock with a hollow boom that ran up the spine of the stairs and into Mara's teeth. She flicked her light down the center void. The beam stopped 5 flights below on black water. It lapped at the steps, washed up, withdrew. In the water, an oar floated by, then a wooden crate with stenciled letters she couldn't read. Then she swallowed hard, a blue plastic milk crate from a grocery 2 towns over. The tower groaned again. The lens turned. The beam swung and caught her square in the chest. For the length of a heartbeat, she wasn't in a room. She was outside, waist deep in winter water, the lighthouse above her and behind her, the sea reaching for her boots. The cold cut so cleanly she didn't scream. She couldn't. When the beam passed, she was back at the top, but drenched. Her phone light shook, throwing pale commas of light around the glass. The hammering at the door had become a scraping climb, like something scaling wet stone. She ran. Down past portholes that now showed black waves and white spindrift. Down past a window where a real human hand smacked the other side of the glass and slid away, fingertips trailing. At the base, the keeper's door stood open to fog. Not field fog. Sea fog. It poured through like breath. Beyond it, a bell buoy tolled again, closer now. She stepped around the doorframe and felt pebbles shift underfoot. Pebbles on the ridge. Pebbles that clicked and rolled like they'd been in a surf line forever. "Get out," she whispered to herself, not sure who she meant it for. She shoved the door closed. The tower shuddered. The knocking stopped. In the morning, townspeople found her footage bag on the ridge and wet footprints leading to the tower, and stopping at the door. The keeper's lock was engaged from the inside. When the county pried it open a week later, They reported rust on every metal surface, salt efflorescence blooming on the brick, and seaweed adhered to the stair treads in a perfect spiral all the way up. They returned Mara's phone to her parents. The last video is 32 seconds long. In it, the lens turns. The beam sweeps the room. For a single frame, Mara is not in the lantern. She is outside, looking in-face pressed to the glass, hair plastered, mouth forming the start of a word that the audio never catches. Like and follow for more files.